the three things that we do, and by the way, you can search 3 Immutable Laws of Real Estate Investing, Joe Fairless, and you'll get the blog post that we have on our blog, and you'll be able to read all that. But the 3 things are, one, that we don't buy for appreciation, we buy for cash flow. And when 2008 hit, we saw people lose money or lose property. And the reason why is one of these 3 reasons. One is they bought for appreciation, not cash flow, because when you are cash flowing on a property and the economy goes in the tank and you are now underwater on your property, well, who cares if you're making money every month? Does not matter what the paper value is. It matters what the cash flow is, because it's probable. I'm not going to say likely, but it's probable that the value will go right back to where it used to be, or very close to where it used to be eventually. Who knows when, but eventually. Mm-hmm. But if you're cash flowing along the way, then it's not mission critical because you got money. So one, all of our properties that we buy cash flow from day one. And should a correction take place, or when it does, we will stop the renovations on those properties or slow them down depending on what makes the most sense. And we'll simply sit tight. We won't cash flow as much as we'd like, but we'll still cash flow assuming there aren't many other variables in play. 2 is that we are buying the property, and when we buy the property, we put the right financing on it. We put long-term debt on our properties. Now, there could be an exception where we do a bridge loan, but if we do a bridge loan, we're going to make sure that we have it for 3 years with at least a couple 1-year extensions included. And we're going to do something with that loan within 36 months, within those first 3 years. And if we do have a bridge loan, and it is, regardless of if it's a bridge loan or agency debt, Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, we're going to, if it's a floating loan, then we'll buy a cap on that. That way we know what our worst case scenario is from an interest rate standpoint. Mm-hmm. And we'll underwrite to that with a sensitivity analysis and see what that looks like. Usually we have Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac debt on our properties, but sometimes properties just don't qualify for it because they are needing more of a repositioning than others. They still cash flow, but they need more of a repositioning than others. Mm-hmm. Therefore, we need to do the repositioning, and then we'll get Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac agency debt, which is more secure, more conservative debt, in my opinion, than bridge loans. And then lastly, you already touched on this earlier, we have adequate operating account with our property. So we'll make sure we have the adequate cash reserves in our property. You already touched on exactly what we look at and how we approach that, so no need to go into it. So those 3 things: 1, buy for cash flow; 2, conservative long-term debt. That way we're not forced to do something whenever the correction takes place. We can just sit on it. The problem is when we're forced to do something at a bad time, then the music stops and we're screwed. Whereas if we can just continue to hold on to the property, ride out the storm, that's where the real estate investors who are in this for the long run and have long-term success thrive. We're actually going to buy a whole lot more during the downturn. And I'm looking forward to a correction because then there won't be as much competition from people from other groups who are currently competing with us because maybe they have bridge loans that aren't able to be extended, or maybe they're buying massively distressed properties and they're not cash flowing, so they're going to be in a cash crunch. I don't wish this upon anyone, but it's the reality. It's going to happen.